Alright, hello guys, this is your boy Ed Boon Sucks once again, here coming in for another review because that's what I do. Today, I like to go on a little bit of a rant, and I'm here to talk about this game that's just now released here in the past few months or so. It's called Double Dragon Neon, and it has some pretty good features in it. I mean, it really does. I like the idea of trying to resurrect some of these old games that we all grew up with 20 years ago, and it's a real. I like the idea. They're trying to. They're bringing these games back, you know, and I'm not talking about just Double Dragon only. I mean, I like to talk about some of these games that were among Double Dragon, you know, like games like Battletoads, you know, Contra, you know, and you know, even I mean, and games like Glidar. Remember that game? I mean, those games we loved, and I thought it was awesome. And you know, and I like this idea. They're trying to resurrect some of these old games, and Double Dragon was one of the highest among them, you know. But I mean, the games like Double Dragon, Battletoads, and stuff like that, they're kind of like shadowed over some of the other games, like, you know, Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, you know. So during that 20-year era, there was that large 10-year gap where it just kind of like faded out. But the ones that still remained in the spotlight, you know, at the time was Mortal Kombat and a Street Fighter, and those were the only two that were still kept alive. I mean, Street Fighter was almost on life support with all the, you know, I mean, they were basically kind of remixing everything, all the old games, and then just adding a couple of different new features. Basically, it was almost on life support, you know, but it managed to finally come around and, you know, create a kind of a 3D-ish realm, but they still have that platform of a 2D fighting system. And this is the kind of problem I have with that 2D fighting system. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I don't hate it or anything. I mean, I grew up with it. But I mean, I wish they just come up. I wish they, you know, they don't have to do that anymore. The way I see it is that they're kind of pigeonholing themselves into that era. So I think they should kind of like broaden their horizon just a little bit, like just a scooch more, like saying like a 3D, well, not 3D, a third-person camera view, kind of like what they do with, you know, kind of like a sandbox platform, you know, like what they do in Grand Theft Auto. Kind of like just take some tips from them, you know. And I feel that Double Dragon's kind of heading that same direction the way Street Fighter is. You know, you got that 2D platform still, and I'm like, come on. I mean, like I said before, I don't hate it. I just wish they just kind of broaden their horizon a little bit and go into that third-person camera, you know, like what they do in Blood Rain and stuff. You know, I mean, it's always like in that behind the person and stuff. I mean, that would be great. And they're bringing back some of the old features. Double Dragon here is bringing back some of the old features, like the spin kick, and, you know, I mean, that was great. I mean, I love that. I mean, I love the spin kick, and they got some of the old famous villains that we all loved, like Bobo. I mean, we just loved beating the crap out of Bobo, and it was fun and it was hilarious. I mean, but it was also kind of like in a smash beat 'em up games and stuff, and that we all loved and cherished. You get to pick up bats and beat the crap out of them with it. I love that, you know. And I just wish that all I'm saying is I just wish they kind of put put in a different platform of a third camera perspective, you know. And I mean, that would be great, because I wish the fighting games head towards that direction a little bit, you know. I think that would be awesome. I think that would be wonderful. And another thing I have a problem with this game is that I mean, I haven't played it or own it, but you know, I mean, due to a lot of observation and reviews, I mean, I really have I kind of have a problem with this, where they kind of make the characters and all the villains and stuff, every person in there is kind of like drawn in. It's a cartoonish version of Double Dragon, you know. I mean, it's kind of like what they did with Ninja Turtles. You know, they were animated in. It's like it's like kind of like staring at a comic book coming to life. You know, it's just, you know, I wish they make it more realistic, or kind of like lifelike, like what they did in Blood Rain. You know, I mean, it's not cartoonish. It's not drawn in. It's pixelated, and that's what I mean, they got the graphics, they got the technology. I mean, the only reason why they had to do these 2D graphics, I mean, these 2D platforms and side-scrollings, is that they had no other choice. I mean, you got to think, 1990s technology can only do, I mean, it was so limited. So, but now they don't have to do this. But I just don't understand why they're going back to that side-scrolling platform, you know. I mean, like I said before, I don't hate it. I just think it's obsolete. I think it's unnecessary. And I mean, it's just like, well, I'll show you here. It has these, you know, it just has this kind of cartoonish. You see, it's kind of like cartoonish drawn in, and you know, it's just like kind of like this right here. I mean. You see, I mean, it doesn't look real, does it? I mean, it's 3D. I mean, don't get me wrong, but, I mean, the graphics are better, but look, I mean, it's still a side-scrolling game and stuff. I mean, you can go up here and stuff, but, I think they should put this like in a third person, like have a camera right here. You see right over his head and stuff. I mean, they did this on Blood Rain. I don't know why. And she was loaded to the teeth with acrobatics and martial arts. But I don't know why they can't do that with fighting systems like this right here. You know, I just couldn't understand this. You know, I mean, I can kind of understand where they want to say, well, we want to keep it in that. They want to keep it like classic or classic-ish. You know, I mean, where you're side-scrolling and all that. And I was like, yeah, okay, you know, I can understand that. And and I imagine Street Fighter was heading to want to keep it in that classic arcade style, but I think it's unnecessary. I think it's obsolete, you know, I mean, I really do. Because basically, I mean, game studios from every direction, they're not aiming at the arcades anymore. Arcades are so 1980s, you know. I mean, so I mean, they're really, I mean, back in the 90s, that's what their goal was, aiming at arcades. That's the moneymaker. But now, not anymore. Now it's, you know, on multiplayer and online games. That's where the crowd is. That's where the money is. So that's where the gaming studios is going with it. They're going, everyone's going online, so we got to follow them. But, you know, I mean, I don't see how that would affect a third person perspective camera on there. I mean, I just don't see how. I mean, I don't see how that would affect it, because I think it would make it even better. I mean, nothing. I mean, imagine if you had that third camera perspective over Billy, right? And he does a 360. He's surrounded by a bunch of guys, and he does a 360 whirlwind kick, and a whole bunch of guys just start flying in every direction. I mean, that would be awesome. I mean, but here, I mean, you know, I mean, you'd see like, you know, 10 or 20 guys flying in every different direction. I thought that would be badass, you know. But, you know, I mean, the graphics are great. I mean, I love it's more detailed, it's more worked out and stuff. And there's just, these are like kind of like pet peeves or something. I guess you could call it that. But, I mean, it's like, well, they got Billy and Jimmy start talking. They have an automated, you know, have voices, but I mean, I kind of like the original where they didn't talk at all. You know, and if you have to make them talk, just have you know, one of those text boxes above them or something like that. You know, I mean, I would go with that. I prefer something like that than anything else. But these guys, the way they talk is so 1980s. They say like they were the Ninja Turtles. They were hanging out with them. They're buddies with them. And radical, awesome, and all that stuff. It's like, it just kind of ruins it for me. I mean, like I said, I'm not bad mouthing Double Dragon. I love Double Dragon. I love the classic versions. And I love the idea they're trying to revive some of these games. I mean, this is great work. I mean, it is. I mean, it just got the neon lights, and they kind of bring it out of, it's kind of like a blast from the past. They kind of bring it out and stuff. I just hope that they don't merge it with Battletoads again. I just hope they don't do that. Don't do that, guys. Don't do that, okay? Don't merge it with another game. Don't do what Ed Boon's doing, okay? Oh, yeah, we got to bring Battletoads into... No, God, no. We know what happened then. Let's not relive those memories, okay? Let's stick with the good things. Let's stick with what we're good at. So... I hope I get to see more of Double Dragons, and I hope they just expand the genre of Double Dragon, and unleash its full potential. I mean, just expand the story. A story is the core of it all, guys. I wish you the best of luck. Just expand the story, amplify your guys, make them stronger, faster, and all that stuff. Make the story has a deeper and thicker plot to it, and make it, to where you're really into this game. You're a part, and you really dig into the story and everything. So, yeah. I mean, I wish the directors offer them congratulations on the game, and I hope you guys make a killing spree on this game. And I hope you guys just keep up the good work, and you do a great job. And I just wish you the best of luck on this kind of stuff. Another thing I like to add to this is I hope to see more games like Double Dragon come back to life, like. Games like, Contra, I mean, I loved Contra, when I was a kid. And, and they did try to keep it alive for a little while and stuff. But, it's like, and that wasn't even a fighting game. Contra wasn't even a fighting game. It was a shoot-up side-scroller and stuff. But, man, it was just wicked. I mean, they had it down. I mean, at the time, Contra, I mean, you can shoot in every direction and stuff. They were the only ones that actually got it right. And so... I don't want to see Contra in a first-person shooter. I mean, we got enough of those. I mean, I can't even keep up with how many first-person Medal of Honors, Tom Clancy's, and all these other games. They're like Covert Ops and all these other games. I mean, there are so many of them. It's completely redundant. So I don't want to see Contra fall into that category. I like to see it. That's probably the only game that I probably wouldn't mind seeing a side scroller, or in or they can even make it into a third person shooter if they like. It would be quite challenging for the programmers to do, but I think they can do it. Contra is another one. I'd love to see Weapon Lord. Remember that game? Oh my God, that was awesome. I mean, and the Weapon Lord, and remember the game of, I think I'm pronouncing this right, Combat Ribes, I think or something like that. It's where I think it's 3 heroes. They're all ripped up like Billy or something here, and they go around picking up bikes and chains and stuff and just beating the crap out of them. I remember playing this in the arcade for the first time, and it just mesmerized my childhood mind. It just like blighting it. And I was like, oh my God, these guys get to pick up motorcycles like Harley Davidsons and throw them at someone and crush them, You get to pick them up by their feet and whip them around and throw them down a flight of stairs. I mean, it's just hilarious. You get to pick up other guys. It's just like out of some sort of bar fight out in a movie or something. It was just awesome. And I mean, I don't know if you guys remember that game, but if you've been to the arcades, you've had to know this. So games like that, I wouldn't mind. I would love to see come back to life. or Glidar. You know, remember that game? Oh my gosh, that was an awesome game. Nothing cooler than seeing a guy with a shield that acts like a buzzsaw and cutting monsters in two. And it just whips back into his arm holster. I mean, it kind of gives you that era of like God of War kind of, you know. And that would be something to see Glidar go up against God of War, you know. I mean, that would be awesome to see actually. I mean, God of War would probably win, but it would be something interesting. That would be an interesting mix. So, but yeah, and even some of the modern games, you know, that we've seen here in the last 8 years or so, like Legacy of Kain. You know, come on, you guys left that open-ended, and I wish they either close the story and seal it, because they left it open-ended. I can't stand it when open-ended stories are just left open like that. You know, it's like, oh, come on, you know. And I know some of the voice actors, a couple of voice actors died off and stuff, but they got to audition for some of these guys that sound a lot like them, you know. Let's see, Legacy of Kain was another one, and A Bloody Roar. God, I mean, why not make some of those games? You know, it would be awesome to see some of those games come back to life. Bloody Roar, I don't know what was wrong with that game, but, I mean, I loved it. It was awesome. I thought it was awesome. And just bring some of these modern games. These games, Legacy of Kain was one of my favorites. The story was long and thick and complex, and and you get sucked into it, you know? And when I say long, I mean, it was like, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way, because it was like you get stuck into it. You get a part of the story, you know. You want to see what happens next. And it was so complex, you know. It really makes you think. And I love that Legacy of Kain. And they did try to kind of like in that Tomb Raider game, they kind of like, yeah, okay, stop teasing us with this. And they're saying, yeah, we know Legacy of Kain, so we put these two guys in here and stuff, but you know, stop teasing us about these little teasers. Let's see these guys. Let's make the game, you know. So I want to see a lot of these games come back to life. I think that would be great, you know. I know that most fighting games here in the past, you know, decade or so, they've been taking a backseat ride in this, and not even a backseat, more like in the trunk of the car ride in it, you know. I mean, because most shooting up games, they're in the driver's seat, and they've been for a long time. And the reason why is because that's where Game Studios is going with it, because they go where the money is, you know. And but it's just so, you know, it's just so done, you know. It's just so overdone with shooting, blowing stuff up, you know, calling in chopper support and blah. Yeah, okay, we get it. The maps are, you know, are short, and you just run in a circle as far as I could tell. Halo games, I love them because they had a good story, open, a lot of genre, and I mean, and I wish them best of luck, you know. I mean, I love Halo too, I mean, as much as the next guy. And but I would love to see a lot of these old games come back to life, you know. I really would. And I wish they start taking a little bit more of a chunk out of into the public eye, because I really wish I mean, this could be a bouncing force back into their day, you know. So I really hope this looks good, you know. So in closing, I offer thank you, the directors of Double Dragon, for reviving this game, and I wish you the best of luck in future fighting games with Double Dragon. Thank you.